Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. I am going to be talking about Starcrossed, the new exotic quest that launched yesterday. It was not a surprise, was not a secret. Turns out it was on the Season of the Wish websites from day one, and it was always going to come out yesterday. There was some weirdness where they did not do the maintenance patch yesterday, and they're doing it right now as I'm recording this, so people were like, is the mission going to launch? But I guess it was already in the game, so it launched. It was a part of the seasonal story quest, as in you do one of the Ribbon's lair things, and then the egg disappears and Ribbon gets pissed. And then you have to go do the exotic quest. It's the second step. I did see some people getting mad that they had to do all of the seasonal story quest lines leading up to this in order to do the exotic quest, which I don't know how much sympathy I have for that. I mean, if you want to do the seasonal exotic quests, you probably have to do the seasonal storyline. I get that this is not how it always worked, except this one specifically is very much tied into the seasonal storyline. So it does make sense why they did it that way. I also previously said I don't know why they did this now instead of maybe saving it for the future, given that this is a 6+ month season. But now I understand because of how tied it into the story it is and how we kind of need to know the information it gives us. So there's a couple pieces to this. There's the weapon you get, there's the mission itself, and then there's the lore. I would rank the order from best to worst: lore, weapon, mission. I wasn't wild about this mission in terms of the grand scheme of all the exotic missions we've got. It's probably not the worst one. Like, I've forgotten some of these at this point, but this is definitely not, you know, your sprawling 0 hour, whatever the one was called for Revision 0. It's not like that. This is something that is set entirely in the Black Garden, which I used to really love the Black Garden as a setting. And like, there are still some aspects of it. The skybox is very pretty, but this mission especially, it just sort of all blends together. It's just this green grass and Vex shapes and things, and like, other than a few like okay vistas in the skybox, like there wasn't really anything that stood out to me about this. Like Presage, when you're going through the whole ghost ship, and like it's just really distinctive. Same thing with the freight tech facility. Like, I didn't really get any of that here, so I'm not too wild about the setting and how it was executed. I soloed the mission at first, which took a decent amount of time because, you know, you screw things up, like, well, you gotta do the locks in this order, and if you don't, they reset. Or if you miss one jump as a warlock, you reset the entire section. Or you get to the boss, and then you've been weasel-errored. So that happened to me, so that took a little longer. As a solo player, I didn't find this particularly difficult. It's just kind of a slog, because in all these different instances, you have to kill... First, you have to kill these, like, 3 tanky Taken phalanxes, which are like the keys to unlock the door, and like they have so much freaking HP, like and they have the Taken shield, which will blast you and cover them half the time, so it's just a lot of freaking ammo to try and kill them. I've heard of people using Osteostriga just because of ammo issues in this, because it's you will really burn a lot of stuff trying to kill these things. And then you're ad clearing in the first section, you're avoiding some Cyclopses, whatever. It just takes a while to do it solo. It's just, you know, navigating around, killing these chonky things, and you go through. Then you change over to this poison gas mechanic, where you pick up a buff, and it lets you go through these poison gas rooms. It's kind of a weird section, because there's one room that's full of poison gas, and you have to kill the wyvern in like a kind of small amount of time. Though, if you run out of poison gas prevention, you can just run out and get some more and come back. This one was just, there's 3 wyverns and then a 4th wyvern at the end with a minotaur boss. Wyverns, they're not, I think they're probably less tanky than the phalanxes, but they're also more dangerous because this is a void burn, and they have their insta-nuke void blast if you're not careful. But the way this is set up, and you're kind of doing the circuit to kill 3 of them, it's not too bad. You can kind of do a mix of like supering one and then using your heavy on the next one and then supering the next one, and it's not a big deal. The only time I died there was missing a jump on Warlock in a section that I realized I didn't really even have to go through when I went through it the next time. And I died a couple times with jumping related errors here as a Warlock, because I mean, obviously, there aren't too many crazy jumping sections. There's like one where there's a lot of, it's like a transition area where there's a lot of like pokey outy ledge things, but it's not an insta fail section. I think it's between this poison gas section and the next one. So that was okay, and it just takes a little while to go through all of this solo and do it, and then if one wrong step kills you, you do the whole thing over again. My problem with the Weasel error is that there's no checkpoints in this exotic mission, like there are not checkpoints in any exotic mission, so I had to redo like the first half an hour all over again, which was just exhausting. After this, then you get a combination of the two things, where you get both the buff to kill the taken Centurions, and you get the poison gas buff to unlock keys in order. So you're just going in these poison rooms and killing the guys in order. Might take, one or two refreshes of that to go in there and kill them, because they're just so tanky, and enemies will keep respawning. But it's not very hard, I don't think, and it's like a 45-second buff that refreshes when you touch any of the plates. And it's a very small area, so you're not like running across this sprawling map to get all of them. It feels like to me that these sections, they just get easier as time goes on. I don't know if the first one's hard, it just takes longer. And then the Wyvern one, the Poison one, is probably less hard once you know the route. And then this one is pretty short, because everything is in this really condensed area, and you obviously know what to do by then. And then you get to the final boss, which I thought was ridiculously easy. Some other people are saying that they had trouble with it solo. Like, I'm not exactly Mr. Pro player here, but what I found is, so you get the double buff, and the whole boss fight takes place in the poison room. And you're like, oh no, like, it's gonna poison me, I'm gonna die. But like, not really. Like, you just have to run to one of the plates and get it refreshed every 30-35 seconds so it doesn't run out. And it's this big, what's the freaking thing called? It's a Hydra, and it hammers you with void stuff, except there's a very, very obvious wall to hide behind where it just can't hit you at all. And it does not have that much health. I was using a Dawn Chorus build on Solar Warlock for this, and, the super does a good amount of damage there. I had rockets, I had the, whatever it's called, fusion rifle, that's so good right now. And then I had Sunshot for mob clear. I didn't die, it took a little bit of a long time, but if you kill these not Centurions, the Phalanxes that are in there, you will get rid of the thing's shields, so eventually you have a Hydra with no shields. It's not really that difficult, and sometimes it's protected by goblins, and then you just have to kill the goblins. Did not find it very hard. I beat that in way less time than it took to beat any of the other sections, and without dying at all, or really even coming close to dying if you just play it remotely safe. Then you get the bow, and you're good to go. Moving on to the lore. The lore is really good. I really enjoyed the lore, which is Riven, spoilers, slowly discovering that this is all the work of her former mate, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, but we get this cutscene at the end that shows his and Riven's relationship, where he was sort of a benevolent Ahamkara who was not trying to fuck people over with wishes. He was nice, and then the Ahamkara hunt came, and we murdered all of them, including this guy, and Riven was pissed. And then we talk about, or we see, she made the deal with Oryx and all that. But now what's happening is the ghost of this guy. I don't really understand how Ahamkara ghosts work. He's taken all Riven's eggs and scattered them around for safekeeping until someone could arrive and protect them, and that someone is us and our paracausality and whatever. So that's why we're doing this now and getting all these eggs. It wasn't Mara Sov doing it. It wasn't Riven trying to trick us. I don't know. I didn't really think we'd get some heartfelt reveals about Riven here, but it's compelling. It was very good. It was very well done. And then you see the dude's skeleton at the end, which is kind of sad, and was probably the best environment at the end there. But I thought that was really well done, and so good story stuff there. The bow itself, it depends. I'm enjoying trying to run suspend builds based around it. I think the most fun one right now, I might write this up at some point, is the Warlock one with the Wanderer and Tangles that can suspend enemies. The bow gives you increased damage with the bow and faster draw time against suspended targets. And then it's like this Verglas curve where you build up charges and then you do a hip fire, except instead of stasis crystals, it lays a trap that suspends a bunch of enemies. I don't know how I feel about them doing this hip fire mechanic again. They've done this with the last two exotic bows now, and my favorite exotic bows are Trinity Ghoul and the Monarch that do not do this. I guess it's fine. One thing that we need to see is it's going to get better with the catalyst, which this is going to be something that you farm the catalyst for every week. I think there's 4 total. And that will allow us to do things like do faster draw time. And the one I'm looking for is putting Hatchling on the bow, which that's very good for the Warlock build I'm trying to do here. So, and then there's other things like making your trap last longer or something. I forget all the ones, but there's 4 different ones, 2 of which are really bow specific, which I think is kind of unusual for these crafted ones. So that's going to have us, run this a few more times. If you're just kind of in this to get through it, boy, do I recommend just doing it with a Fireteam. It is a wildly different experience with even a moderately competent Fireteam. The second time I did this on my Titan, and I tried to do a Fireteam Finder, and then I did that, and then the 2 people who joined didn't have the quest activated yet. Like, they didn't do the seasonal story thing leading up to it. So I'm like, all right, screw it. So I made a Fireteam thing on the website, and I said, have quest. And then people joined and did have the quest. With a full group, this took about 10-12 minutes. This was like strike length. This was like pretty much a strike, essentially, with a full Fireteam. The tanky Phalanxes and Wyverns are no longer very tanky if you have 3 people going after them. If you have people that don't screw up things like doing the locks out of order, you can get that done in really short order. If you have people who know the poison part path, that is very fast, really fast actually. And then the final boss, I mean, we burned it in, I would say, under 10 seconds, like triple supers, unload heavy, like it's nothing at that point. Like I don't think there's any Fireteam scaling on this. I really doubt it. So at least on normal, this was extremely easy. I don't think the catalyst will have to be completed on Legend. Legend is like 1830, and that'll be harder certainly. But even that, I don't think it's going to be that hard. I haven't tried it, but I haven't felt the need to at this point. Like unless I have to. I thought this is just a really easy exotic mission. Some people were saying that they thought Presage was easier, but I don't know. I don't think so. And then there's no timer here at all. And it's shorter than something like Vox Obscura. I would say it's easier than Vox Obscura. I just didn't really, I don't really love the mission itself. I think the lore is great. I think the bow can be good once we get some upgrades into it. But the environment here, it was all pretty samey. The mechanics are fine. I don't mind the mechanics. And it soloing it did not seem difficult. It was just like a slog. And like if you did make one mistake, you had to redo these really long sections full of really tanky enemies, which was annoying, but it's also easy to just sort of play it really safe and not die. And then the final, I don't really get the final boss. The final boss seems like it's way too easy. And I get that, it's good not to have damage gating to some degree, but mechanically this was just very bizarre, I thought, and very easy, and just a joke with the Fireteam. So that's kind of what I made of this here. I have some footage playing here, I think, of the start. I'm doing this on my Strand Suspend Warlock, which, I don't know how good it is. I tried this on Titan with Suspend, which is fine, and like obviously Titan, you can kind of build into Suspend more. It's got the exotic where you shoot a bunch of Suspend lashes out, but you're Titan and you're on Strand. Are you not going to do Banner of War shit? Like, nothing is better than Banner of War. I've heard some people having fun with the Hunter Suspend, where you can do the little dive bomb suspend move. I don't know. I haven't tried that yet, but I really like the Warlock one, and it seems like a really fun Warlock build to do. I'm still fine-tuning it and whatever, and I haven't looked up any guides from the smarter people than me who min-max these things, but it's fun. I'm having fun with it. I will certainly get all these catalysts. I'm curious how it feels with catalysts and faster draw time and better handling, and it's a little clunky right now, and I think it could be less clunky. So I don't know. It's I think it's a perfectly fine activity to do. It's just if I'm stacking it up in the grand list of exotic quests over time, I guess this wasn't quite as involved as what I was imagining it to be, which I don't know. I don't like I'm not like angry about it. I don't think this is bad. It just maybe is not, knocking my socks off like some of the other missions. I saw Grenader Jake say it was like the best solo Destiny thing he's done in years, and I'm like, yeah, is it? I don't know. I don't really feel that way. But anyway, let me know what you thought about the mission, what you think about the bow, what you think about the lore, and we will get back to. I have like one more Dawning role to farm. I'm probably going to farm this new grenade launcher I wrote about today. That's the new Vanguard weapon, even if it's not as good as Forbearance. I don't know. I still want a Volt Shot one. And then it's the holiday, and I will stop making videos. What am I leaving? Saturday, and then I'll be back Thursday. So then that's when I'll pick up videos again. And I'll be writing on and off, but I don't know. I got a couple more days, so I don't need to go into this now. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.